don't know how many of you are familiar with the Fringe Festival, but it's a huge arts festival that is offered across lots of cities across the nation, but in the summer it happens here in DC. But when I went to see Marty, in the middle of his presentation, I found myself reflecting a lot about who I am and what I do as an educator. And so when it was over, I said to him, do you think you could put something together for staff? We never have any downtime that just lets us breathe a minute and reflect on what we do in a fun, engaging way. And he was like all over it. He was like, yes. So, without further ado, would you please give a warm West Potomac welcome to Mr. Marty Graff.
Thanks a lot, and welcome to the Face Zone. Each of us sees through a different lens. The same artwork can be a masterpiece or mud, depending on the museum building. A referee's call is often disputed by the other team. Where 17th century military engineers envisioned coiled metal as a way to dislodge bullets, vintners saw a corkscrew. Such disparate applications, war winemaking. 7 billion points of view, and growing. The Face Zone is my point of view. A creative space where I reflect on inner, outer worlds. A place where I imagine, draw, and write about. The resulting pieces could be flashes from fantastical narratives for which you must construct a plot. They could be metaphors, could be puzzles, jokes, commentaries, commands, questions, visions. What connects them is that they all begin with some kind of captioned face to prompt reaction and thought. Now, as much as the material is a window into my worldview, it's also a mirror reflecting yours, as your particular combination of experiences, values, and beliefs influences the meaning that you take away. Though some of our associations may overlap, they don't have to. The point is to set minds in motion. Toward what end? To what end? It's for you to decide. But enjoy the sights along the way. Surreal daydreams to trip your imagination. February 2004, Hong Kong. I was hiking Lantau Island when the trail unexpectedly brought me to a beach. No other people, not a footprint. No boats on the water or any other man-made structures in sight. The Pacific like a still, breezeless lake under the overcast sky. A scene of sublime inactivity. I'm seeing now that this was my destination. I took off my backpack, used a rock to dig a butt-sized hollow in the sand, planted mine in there, and reclined against the pack. For an hour, I didn't move. Just my eyes panning the ocean, reading the horizon like the most important poem ever written. Well, there was only one return bus to town and not much time, so I sat up, brushed off, and continued along eons sooner than I wanted. I've gone back many times in my imagination, though. That boundless refuge where no distance is too far, our passport is always valid, and touchdown is just a thought away. During the hard times, especially, our mind's eye sees us through. When the windows of the world let in the harsh light, workplace anguish, imploded love, or a fatal diagnosis, we can pull down our eyelid shades and take respite in whatever setting we conjure. For me, it's that incidental shore at Lo K1. For you, we can't ignore reality either. The longer you spend inside, the more force the outside world amasses against you. Bills pile. Disappointment turns to depression. The tumor doubles in size. You gotta take care of life before it takes care of you. In doing so, you enable the next beautiful moment to retreat to when ugliness returns. The less accessible a thing, the greater our desire. We're cats, incessantly scratching at a closed door while ignoring the open one next to it. Obsessing over what we can't have. Those late night munchies intensify once you see that the takeout place is dark and closed for the evening. Husbands yearn for the woman next door as their wives lay close. Compare the panicked sprint to find a job with the dreadful slow walk toward the time clock. Then you slump at your workstation, lamenting all you can get done, if only you were at home. But come your day off, you'll procrastinate that to-do list like a root canal. The largest economy in the world is a carrot on a stick. The American dream is a long con of unfulfilled appetite, where every ad campaign presents a hole and sells the filler. How many companies would collapse if we recognized that fulfillment comes from within? The shortest distance of all. We reach for faraway wants, leaning ever farther away from our innermost needs. Eating is as intimate as it gets. The ingesting of organic material from the middle of your face, down into your deep physical core to become temporarily one with the consumed mass. It's even more penetrating than intercourse. Food is so personal that we judge others on their meal choices. Order something gross on a first date. It could be your last. The fifth grader with the strangest brown bag lunch gets picked on most in the cafeteria. Americans find Southeast Asians offensive for eating dog, even though we eat large dogs called cows, which makes us seem ignorant to Hindus. Shrimp greatly upset me because of their pinkish orange, fingernail-like shells, poop veins. So when I lived in Shanghai, it probably took a month off my life to catch a glimpse of my Chinese office mate aggressively stuffing entire prawns into her mouth until the ends of their shockingly long antenna disappeared into her satisfied expression. In the process of devouring them, she became prawn-like. And I'm sure she'd feel the same about the scrapple I chowed down as a Pennsylvania native. Seeing an animal feed can bring on the same revulsion. The sickest thing about opening a trash can swarming with bugs isn't necessarily the insects themselves, but that they think it's delicious in there. In the moment, that itself justifies the swine. If you are what you eat, then those flies are rot-filled maggots, unwelcome in our space. One person's haggis is another's honey. Taste is pure subjectivity. Whatever a mangoon is, it's out there somewhere. It's awful, and it's hot, sexy dinner for some ravenous mouth that can't get enough. JR was my uncle's dachshund, an adorable little brown hot dog who bit me on the mouth. At just 4 years of age, that was to be my first of many unfortunate canine encounters. A high school friend's West Highland White Terrier, Rudy, would go 100% berserk when I came over. If we wanted to hang out there, her parents had to physically restrain Rudy, an otherwise lovely animal, until we escaped to the basement rec room. And even then, he would pace and snarl on the other side of the door for the entire visit. And remember, dog time is 7 times ours. So that pooch had some committed animosity for me. During college, there was Cinnamon. Such a sweet name for such a sweet-looking white and copper spaniel. An interesting case, this one. She would bare teeth when I tried to leave. It got so that her owner had to create a diversion while I ran for the exit. And on lucky occasions where I found her asleep, I would tiptoe past to the front door like an escaping prisoner, shuffling around a tired, vicious guard named Cinnamon. Isn't any wonder I'm a cat person after such a Pavlovian history? I mean, there have been exceptions, I admit. Lily, my aunt's Beagle Pointer mix, is as amiable and chill as they come. A colleague has a basset hound named Emmy Lou who just wants to flop near me and score a treat once in a while. I also have an unlikely fascination with Neapolitan mastiffs because their faces look like drawn curtains of pure droop. Even met one called Blue in a pet store. Despite his murderous gargoyle likeness, he simply lacked the energy to give a shit. Only 6 months old, and it still took all his energy just to sit there and drool. It was kind of zen. That said, maybe it's time to re-examine my aversion. If some are okay, couldn't any of them be a Lily, an Emmylou, or a Blue under different circumstances? Not knowing better as a kindergartner, I did in fact get down on the floor and touch my nose to JR's before he tried to eat my lips. And Rudy probably wanted to kill me because I arrived in an overwhelming Halloween costume our first meeting. Still trying to figure out what was up Cinnamon's ass. But it could have been my tension, my own aura of mistrust triggering negative feedback. The way people's reactions range from ugly to uplifting, depending on my approach. We get what we give in this circular life. America is desensitized to its existential advantage. It's not that you can't find agony in the USA, but we've collectively lost sight of what a relative haven this is, bitching about the long red light while sitting in a Hummer with heated seats. Heaven forbid that Amazon order of unicorn stretch pants arrives a day late. They'll be hell to pay when the delivery driver forgets extra garlic sauce. Imagine dropping a dying third world skeleton in Wegmans. He'd die of shock before starvation, taking in the neon bright pyramids of polished organic produce and aisles of self-care products too long to see the end of. An avalanche of abundance. Yet we whine about going to the supermarket on our day off and impatiently sigh, waiting to roll our overflowing treasure card through the checkout, back to that Hummer with the heated seats. I'm the worst. I get pissy the moment I pull into the strip mall, resenting every taken space with mumbled epithets, nerve-wracked over who's gonna dart out in front of me with car or cart. Then, it's total lizard brain mode inside the store. The other shoppers becoming detested adversarial obstacles with lower deli counter numbers than mine. I recall the guinea pig owner ahead in line. She remembered the wood chips, but forgot the carrots would have to go back for them. So I waited. Then we all waited. Then I fantasized about hammering a carrot between her eyes like a railroad spike. Fine now. Many will fall apart once our society does, ill-equipped to suffer catastrophic hardship. It's an outrage to find an empty shelf where the 2-for-1 eggnog should be, so imagine the tantrum when the entire shopping center is a crater. Before that happens, take a moment, this one, to breathe. Look around, look within, and marvel over something you've got that someone somewhere else might not, does not. If enough of us hold on to that thought, we could grow the will to preserve this paradise of progress. You know, when adults carry on like children, it's the children who are forced to grow up too fast. Everything is surreal at first. Drive a baby under the track lighting of a freeway tunnel with the sunroof open, and watch his face transform as if seeing God. 40 years later, we'll do a dead-eye daily commute along that same stretch, unmoved as a Pac-Man frog. Because each experience has a perceptual contour of spike and decay. Otherwise, honeymoons would last forever, the first hit wouldn't be free, and the latest fashion would still be Cro-Magnon chic. We thrive on the right kinds of change. Discovering punk rock in high school was a glorious, exploding gift from an alternate dimension. After years of enduring the pedestrian sedation of top 40, these days, my favorite reality shifts occur through travel, where a foreign landscape becomes home over time, and home feels foreign upon returning. Then reality reestablishes itself, and I begin planning my next departure. Long before our body collapses, our soul withers when starved of novelty. The agony of solitary confinement hinges on indefinite sameness. But the unincarcerated also cage themselves by uncritically settling into mind-numbing routines, the slow boiling and the gradual cook of their rerun days until retirement hits with scarce time and energy for a spiritual recovery. Now is the time for new, for getting a better job, for taking a different way home at least, for catching a buzz or trying sobriety. Time to paint with the other hand, to be on the bottom or in front during the act. Time for a strange conversation with an unusual stranger. Today is the day to act on curiosity and inject some life into our lives. Faces are the hardest to describe and reproduce. The basic components are simple enough, like the exposition at the start of a fugue. But just as an increasingly varied musical theme gets harder to hum amidst the unfolding counterpoint, one's facial expression is a complex, dynamic intersection of physical and metaphysical attributes, elusive to capture. There are no identical twins. In novels, characters' faces are always blurriest in my mind's eye. Descriptions like molded plaster that won't stick to its subject. And it's the same in nonfiction. Police sketches never fully resemble the perp because the profiling software can't render the narrative behind the eyes. The life that led to the likeness. For that revelation, you need to meet a person's gaze directly. And when you do, you see a vivid page from an autobiography in progress. So many sets of eyes, noses, and mouths, stories to go with them. Billions, collectively the same, individually distinct. Past faces, living faces, and all those yet to come. Thoughts are like light beams. The more concentrated, the more they illuminate. A focused mind can conceive and realize tremendous objectives. The power of concentration has given us the piano sonatas and discipline to practice them, novels, and the literacy to read. Consider all that Stephen Hawking grasped about the space-time continuum because he had so much uninterrupted time and space to study it. If not for a rigorous brain, we still wouldn't know how to control fire or raise food, let alone come up with paella, the Sistine Chapel, and quantum theory. But our attention span is becoming bite-sized, with a Y. Industrial automation and electronic overstimulation have shattered presence of mind. The very aspect separating us from those erratic squirrels we're increasingly unable to ignore. A lack of mental stamina threatens everything of substantive worth. Because a fragmented thought process yields an incoherent conclusion, or a smashed mirror reflects a splintered face. Deep understanding, sustainable innovation, lasting relationships, the arts, justice, it all depends on patient perseverance. Multitasking is a euphemism for distraction. Eventually, by sabotage or exhausted resources, a whole-scale collapse of the digital infrastructure will force a reboot. In the meantime, we might ready ourselves and maintain some synaptic tenacity by willfully disconnecting from the network, by safeguarding our precious time for slow, offline engagements like meditation, drawing, fishing, building a deck, reading a book, writing one, having face-to-face conversations, just sitting with the stereo on, reflecting. Should this mass cognitive decline go on unchecked? Should we wait too long to reassemble our collective consciousness? Some crucial pieces may be forever lost. One of our most salient human characteristics is our capacity for storytelling. Stories entertain, move, and shape us. They document, explain, and instruct. Some narratives are so powerful, so thoroughly internalized by a population, they have a greater impact than bombs. Certainly, many weapons have been discharged in defense of one coveted tale over another. But as much sway as stories hold over us, they're an arbitrary force we manufacture. Accounts become so old and well-known, we forget they could have followed a different plot line. Imagine if we had access to rough drafts? What if Medusa had a scalp of golden roses and transformed people into pure chi? What if Robert Frost had taken the highway? How about a female Christ? In an alternate version, we may just as easily have spent a childhood leaving quarters under our pillows for the scab fairy. A revised manuscript may well alter the course of an entire culture. Everything has been done already, leaving us to deconstruct and reassemble the past for contemporary variations on classic themes. Futons, horror comedies, Buffalo Ranch Doritos, and sporks. Certain winning combinations become their own enduring element, like MMA and drag queens, while pumpkin spice spam and rap metal are insufferable crimes against humanity. Science is always eager to stir things up, mixing and matching organic materials as if they were outfits. First broccolini, finally cyborgs. The future is going to be one hell of a remix. Keys have always captured my imagination because they open worlds. A world of wonder as the lid of a treasure chest releases with a baritone creak. A secret world, finally accessed by the inheritor of an eccentric relative's safe deposit box. A world of memories when I come across the key to a house and marriage long since demolished. A freer world, the moment iron bars slide sideways to discharge an inmate. Most of the time, they admit us into routine living, turning deadbolts of front doors, starting cars, and protecting valuables and gym lockers. People are lockboxes too, denying or permitting entry depending on the solicitation. Waiting for that uniquely inspiring teacher to move our potential. For that singular love to unwind our individual complication. For that particular chemical to trigger addiction. For that one insult to unleash our fury, then our fists, then our firearms. And at long last, for that unifying cause, compelling us to let loose our collective best impulses before karma changes the locks and humanity is shut out altogether. You can't prop a giraffe. You can't make a cat follow the rules. You can't make a kazoo subtle, and plaid always takes over the outfit. Weeds will continue to sprout wherever, as sand won't stay on the beach, as water finds its way out of any vessel. Every rumor spreads like fire, like they'll never censor every curse word. You can't force art inside the lines. You can't keep a viral trend from its time. Nothing restrains true love or righteous revolution. And yet all poems must come to an end. Daily, we straddle the cosmic threshold in a ritual near-death experience. Under covers, behind eyelids, we tempt fate, suspend consciousness, and trust an alarm to bring us out rejuvenated. The moments leading to sleep are pure potential energy, a wheel at the crest of the hill, teetering on the cusp of this and another dimension. In the best of times, the transition is an effortless surrender to psychic gravity. At the most inopportune, the night before a double shift or a long drive with children. It's holistic constipation as your entire being insomniatically strains toward anesthesia. Unable to let go and pass over, you roll over and over. Afraid of tomorrow, afraid of no tomorrow. Either way, tomorrow becomes today. Another chance